All right, hello and welcome to the League of Ordinary Jabronis podcast. This is going to be the episode 12 for week 11.
Yeah.
I think I got that right.
Slash 10 kind of.
Slash 10 kind of. Yeah, right, because we missed last week, and that's why my numbering is off. So apologies again for that. Life happens, and we were unable to record last week, but we're back on it today and here to deliver the greatest fantasy podcast content we can provide within reason. With that, how are you guys' weeks in fantasy? How are you feeling about the outlook of your schedules so far? And what's the vibe?
Well, I feel bad because, actually, I already know because my team's a fraud, but I got destroyed by you last week, which never feels good because we have a rivalry that goes back many, many years.
Many years.
Every single time we play each other, it's always a shit show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then this week, I got absolutely smoked by Taysom'd.
Oh, you got Taysom'd?
Yeah, you got Taysom'd big
Classic
time.
Taysom'd.
Mm-hmm.
Casey also nailed his start-sit decisions up and down the board. I don't think I've ever seen that.
He literally had an 100%. He had an 100%.
His start-sit accuracy was 100%. His max PF
was his PF.
Lineup.
Yeah, he did great.
It's the opposite of me.
I've been shooting.
Which had the least efficient or whatever that thing is on the.
Oh yeah,
you did terrible. I needed to play you.
Mm-hmm.
So bad. Dude, my team is just utterly collapsed. I have faced the two most ridiculous performances, athletic performances in the last 2 weeks with Jamar Chase's stupid game,
the 50 burger,
and you know it's even worse though.
One with 200 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Oh yeah, ugh.
Yeah, I got both of those back to back. So it's
you're kind of in the same boat as Josh. Josh is just getting smoked all season like that.
Yeah, but
that's
basically
the difference is that Joe has 200 more PF over the entire season than Josh, at least. So losing out is considerably less of a worry for you at this point, as long as you can keep the average relatively high.
Yeah, the thing is, this is exactly what I did last year.
Precisely.
Almost to a T.
Yeah,
except
exactly.
I didn't start out as good. So I had
You have a slight, you have a little bit less of a pillow than you did last year, but in terms of points for, but you're still of the 6-6 teams, you are 200 points ahead of nearly everybody.
Well, the thing about the record though is from here on out, every win and loss for literally everybody except Josh matters so much because
Josh, Matt, and Trevor don't matter.
After Trevor, the entire league has 6 and 5 wins.
Yep. and that's going to change this week because Casey and I play each other and we're both 6 and 5. So one of us is going to wind up 6 and 6. So everybody in the 5 and 6 win your matchup and you're going to be, really in the running.
Yeah, every win increases your chances of making playoffs from here until week 14 by at least 15, maybe 20%.
See, I was gonna.
You need to go 2-1 basically from here to get playoffs.
Basically, that's the goal. And I when I was doing the math on it for the podcast last week and looking at it again this week, basically nothing changed except that sorry Matt, I think you're probably out because of the unfortunateness of it. But there's everything gets sorted out in these last 2 weeks, and it might actually be the last 3 weeks. 12, 13, 14. That it takes. I'm deeply worried about week 14 now and whether or not I should keep Aaron Rodgers on my roster because it could matter in a lot of ways.
Week 14 is crazy though because it's a huge bye week.
It's the last bye week, and it's a big bye week for a lot of teams because the Commanders, Ravens.
It's Ravens, Broncos, Texans, Colts, Patriots, Commanders. That's a lot.
A lot of teams.
Relevant. Patriots, meh.
Colts,
that's
all those other teams.
Everybody else, Derrick Henry, Lamar, Zay,
Terry McLaurin, Jaden
Daniels, Bo Nix.
That's Casey's only quarterback, basically.
Yeah.
And then the Texans, there's 10 fantasy relevant players on the Texans.
Right. But the Texans already had their bye.
Nope.
No, aren't they?
Listen,
No,
they haven't had their bye yet.
Oh Jesus, they're week 14 too. I am so fucked in week 14.
Don't worry, everyone else is. That's my point.
No, but like especially because I'm heavily invested in the Ravens, Texans, and a few others.
Well, you and a lot of other teams. That's my point.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's a good point. They're good teams, so you want to be invested in them.
Everyone is going to be super, super scrappy at the deadline. Like once it gets to that point, like if you win week 14, that could be your ticket to the playoffs.
And again, like I was going to do the math on all of the teams this year, but it doesn't significantly change from last week for everyone. You know, like it will be probably 2 weeks.
Like got the same team basically, unless you're Trevor, who has some top 15 running backs.
Yeah, and
which is madness.
I mean, but that's the difference. And so now I'm going to request the parody song Targus, because we're talking about it. I need you to sing this for me. I alluded to this in chat, and I want to hear it, bad or good.
Let's see, where is it in the?
And if you want, I'll go ahead and throw a little Mambo number 5. You know.
Where is it in our chat? I have to scroll up so damn far.
Hold on. Hold on. Wait. Hold on. Let me get you the instrumental for Mambo number 5. Let me hit you the lube guy, and that way we can. We'll just click this on here. You know what? This is going to be weird because of the stream delay, but that's fine.
Hold on. How about you just edit it in?
Yeah. That'll work. That'll work. Okay. You play it. All right. You just got to hit the...
Here we go. All right. A little bit of parody in my life. A little bit of parody by my side. A little bit of parody is all I need. A little bit of parody is what I see. A little bit of parody in the sun. A little bit of parody all night long. A little bit of parody, here I am. A little bit of parody makes me your man. Ah! There you go.
Fantastic. Thank you.
All right. I hope parody number 5.
I think that's pretty good. Yeah, exactly. Mambo number 5.
I can't wait till Steve just gives up on the edit and it's just like offbeat.
It's gonna be because it's gonna be Targus's fault for not waiting for me to put the fucking background music on, even if it wasn't gonna wind up in the stream finally.
It doesn't matter, because what you can do is just put it in Ableton and then warp it, and then it'll be perfect. And to make $1 million.
Just clip and then got it.
We've done this before. This is in college for years. We're fine.
Fucking baby mode here. Yeah.
Anyway, everyone cringes about the parody thing, but I'm not wrong, and it's gonna be that way for a couple more years at least.
Honestly, it's healthy for the league for that to be the case. It means that every single one of us, except Josh and Matt, have a legitimate chance. Like,
yeah, I was going to just say, I honestly think that even though you had a really awful season and a really awful draft, like we've talked about over and over and over again, you did a good job of rebuilding your team. Like, you drafted really well. You have a lot of startable players as a result of this year's draft. Pretty much hit on 3 or 4 of them. So you're back in it.
At the very least, I got Bowers and BTJ, and Bowers is phenomenal. He beat Puka for the receiving record through 10 games. Like, he looks like he's on pace to continue that, and in a tight end premium, holy shit, is that value? Like,
it's funny.
He's my best skill player.
This is what made me fall in love with Kyle Pitts, was the fact that he was the only target on his team. He was a really good receiving tight end coming out of college. He was drafted high. All these things are true for Bowers.
Yep.
And he produced because he was literally the only
guy
that they could throw the ball to outside of Jacoby Myers. And we all know how I feel about Jacoby Myers.
He was even eating Devontae Adams' targets at the time because Devontae was getting doubled and quarterbacks are bad. So now even like... a little bit.
Has also been nicked up the whole season. He was clearly at the end of last season also unhappy there.
Well, I mean,
there was
clearly
a lot of weird...
I still love the the Raiders fan shade about quitting on a team to go tank with another one. That's the best. that's the best shit for me. Like, the Jets Schadenfreude gives me a little bit of life every time it happens, especially as it's coming out.
So that being said, everyone's glazing the fuck out of Brock Bowers right now, and that's fine. It's warranted. What's interesting though is that we saw after Kyle Pitts' season, they drafted Drake London and then Matt went to the Colts. I think it was that season, the second season that
And Matt
Kyle was
Ryan.
there.
Yeah.
Matt Ryan left, and then he had Mariota and then Desmond Ritter for the following 2 seasons. So
Right.
really poor
Bad.
quarterback play and a alpha wide receiver in front of him. And then they also had a bunch of other options. And then they drafted Bijan, who's a good pass catching back.
Right.
So basically, the
they
Falcons
continued
loaded up on a bunch
to.
of-
Yeah, the skill positions came into play.
The scheme changed, and then this season we have Zach Robinson, who comes from the Sean McVay system, and then they don't use a pass catching tight end really ever. So Kyle Pitts is somewhat of an afterthought on that.
The Shanahan McVay system does neglect tight ends, but it's not it's not impossible if you have a good one.
It's not
because
the focal point.
Kittle and Kraft still are producing in Shanahan style offenses. It's just that
in the Shanahan's system.
Sean McVay.
Yeah, McVay doesn't. Yeah, but
that's what I'm saying.
McVay is running a derivative of the Shanahan system.
No, I'm talking about Zach Robinson, the OC of the Falcons, who comes from Sean McVay.
He's a McVay tree, but it's still the same delineation.
Well, we all know what happens when a Sean McVay tree person tries to use tight ends, and you get the Bears. So
yeah.
Maybe they shouldn't.
Okay, all right, fair.
Let me finish my thought here. So after Kyle Pitts' first season, he ended up getting hurt, and then also they had better weapons around him, and he really never recovered that alpha wide receiver 1 kind of status after that. Then we had last year, Clem Laporta, who this year has had
he's had a regression for sure.
He regressed to the point where it's like,
who are you, man?
Where is he?
Yeah.
Where's the player that was that we saw last year? And a lot of what happened last year was buoyed by the touchdown variance, which is not something you can really rely on. Touchdowns are incredibly volatile statistic year over year. But
it's hard to predict.
He was the next Travis Kelce last year.
He also got hurt at the end of last year too, and is still probably
he got hurt at the end of last year. But most importantly, this year the scheme changed and the emergence of Jameson Williams, and then just the focus on the 1-2 run game.
Right. I mean, that's really what happened. Is that the Lions became a run every down type of team because they could be. And they don't need to pass as much unless they're trying to destroy the Rams. Right.
This brings me to Brock Bowers, though, because next year they're probably going to draft another wide receiver or at least get someone in free agency. Like if T. Higgins goes to Vegas and they'll have another wide receiver.
T will go to LA.
Throw the ball to. Well, I'm not postulating about who could go where. It's just an example.
Sure. Yeah, they're gonna try, but the Raiders' priorities are quarterback first. So they're gonna be they need to find someone to deliver the ball.
How many second round wide receivers are there? That totally pan out and that are great.
Oh yeah, I mean there are some. There are a lot. Yeah.
Just because they're not going to take T-Mac doesn't mean that they're not going to get somebody. And
absolutely. And there's but that's the nature of football too. In any position, is that you're always going to have somebody who's trying to vie for your snaps, right?
Yeah.
And the question is, can Bowers beat them out, right?
Yeah, that's really the crux of my point here. Is Bowers will eventually be in a system. Well, hopefully for him, he's in a system with a lot
that funnels to him.
Where it's the drop off from him to Jacoby Myers is really
tremendous,
steep. And then from there, there's nobody.
I mean, the Raiders look like the Ravens at one point, 3 years ago, where there's very little. There's so much worse than that. Absolutely,
they don't have a quarterback.
No, I'm the pre-Lamar Ravens look a lot like the Raiders. The last Flacco Raiders Ravens look so much like the current Raiders. Because you have
except their defense was way better.
Yeah. But that's whatever. But you have a rookie Mark Andrews who looks like he's ascending, or relatively young Mark Andrews who's absolutely ascending. You're looking for your quarterback hit, and you're not necessarily drafting top 5, although the Raiders very well could be, based on the way that they've been doing this season. But that's the point I'm making, is that he could go that route too. It just depends on what the Raiders do. And Tom Telesco is their GM, and he was the Chargers guy. He oversaw the Justin Herbert drafting. And so I think he at least has a team of reputable scouts to identify good quarterbacks.
You know, you should ask the Chargers whether or not like their drafts have really worked out. Like,
I think Herbert's been good at least. Like, I don't know that. I mean, I don't know about the wide receiver talent that the Chargers have decided to draft over the last 5 years, and from the last 5 years, which was the Telesco era, which still gives me hope for Bowers. So
yeah, I don't like it's. I mean, it's
that's just my take on it. But yeah, it's a Mark Davis team. There's going to be owner interaction no matter what. And the teams with a lot of owner interaction are chronically bad. Like, yeah, exactly. I mean, story of the Jets, story of the Panthers. Like, you look at a bad team, they probably have a bad or meddling owner.
It's that, and like, I mean, it's just bad ownership, but it's the other part of it where it's you're like the likelihood of another Travis Kelce coming along or Mark Andrews type, where they're the focal point of an offense, and that's how it's built around, is just so few and far between. I mean, like the only other one that like seems to actually happen every year or every other year at this point maybe is like Kittle. It's just like whoever gets hurt, like,
yep,
you know,
the 49ers offense is pretty equal opportunity, but that's the Shanahan way, you know.
But like, like it's just so many. There's so few systems that run the tight end like that, and even the Chiefs, like, I mean, Bowers is like probably talented enough to do what
Kelce
did
for his
like,
career,
he's probably talented enough to do that. Just is he going to be given the opportunity? Because like, you know,
hard to know. I mean, it's really hard to know. But that's Targus's point, right? Is that it's hard to know.
I looked at the Raiders depth chart, at least what's on Sleeper. They have 4 wide receivers.
That's crazy.
I think that says a lot about why we're seeing what we're seeing with Bowers. It's
there's no depth.
Kyle Pitts effect. The Kyle Pitts effect. If you go back and look at the team that Kyle Pitts played with in 2021, there's nobody. It was Kyle Pitts. That was their wide receiver.
Mm-hmm.
The wide receiver 2 isn't in the league anymore, if I remember correctly. I don't even remember who it was. There's nobody. And then it was like Scotty Miller or somebody. That was it. They have their wide receiver 1, unironically.
Was it Olamide Zaccheaus?
I think he was on the team, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like he was there, but
it was unironic. Yeah, but he's terrible.
He's bad. So bad.
Unironically, Jacoby Myers is their wide receiver 1, and then Trey Tucker maybe. I mean, he's young.
He's WR2, but he's a deep threat more than anything else, and he has nobody who to deliver a deep ball.
And he's
short. He's short. His role is volatile as hell. Like those guys are
bad. Arguably bad.
Well, they're not. It's just like,
Jacoby Myers is
Marcus Valdes-Scantling at the best, and you just stick around the league and hop from team to team, or you're like a Jalen Hyatt who gets 1 year in the league and like probably isn't going to get a second contract.
Yeah. I mean, I think more likely both of those guys are on the MVS track.
Without looking, could you name the wide receiver 3? Like, what would even be the third option on their depth chart for wide receivers?
Don't
look. And be honest if you have no idea, because
I have absolutely no idea. Like
the PSYOP league is my advantage here, and well, we're all in the PSYOP league, but fuck it, I don't know. I was gonna say Geronimo Allison. That's as good as guess as any.
He's out of the league.
He's gone. Yeah, he's CFL.
It's
I know the running backs.
It's either DJ Turner or Ramel Keaton.
Who they play for?
Who they? Yeah. Ramel Keaton is a rookie.
We're not talking about. You know what? Before he got injured 3 weeks, or no, not 3 weeks ago, 3 days ago, DeAndre Carter would have been the third wide receiver.
He's not there.
Not anymore because he's on IR.
Throw the ball. You gotta throw. I mean, even then, Jacoby Myers is better. But Jacoby Myers is literally the wide receiver 1 for Vegas.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I mean, honestly, it's Brock Bowers. But
it's Brock Bowers. He's a tight end. Yeah, exactly. In the top target share is Bowers. The second top target share is Myers. He's still the top wide receiver.
I can't watch Raiders games. I hate
he does.
watching shit.
He actually does block. He blocks good. on top of it. Like
Wait,
he's
who does?
Bowers.
Oh,
He's
Bowers?
yeah,
No, he's like
he's a full
Bowers
package
is
tight end. He can do it
Oh,
all.
crazy.
I know what his profile was. I'm asking like how they utilize.
He's-
Like he must with how depleted their offense is. You
Oh,
would
yeah,
think
no,
that
he
he's
blocks.
literally running routes.
He
Run
blocks.
game, yeah, for
He
sure.
blocks every
Yeah.
run game play. He plays 100% of the snaps. He blocks every run play and he catches all the passes.
Yeah, I mean,
He's
that's what you
he's a
want.
true like
Yeah.
Y receiver, like Y,
Right.
like no Y tight end, like your traditional Y tight end, like
He's
in
the
line,
mold.
like he is the most classic traditional tight end. The difference is that like Brock Bowers like had a case last year to be the best like player in the draft, like including Marvin
Easily.
Harrison.
Easily had
Like,
a
from a
case.
profile perspective, like people were just burned by Kyle Pitts the last time somebody said he was the best tight end product. No one wanted to be like, the person that named the new Kyle Pitts.
It's hard to invest in that given the volatility in the position.
Brock
Like,
Bowers
but
is
the
just
tape
more
don't
of a-
lie.
Yeah, he's just more of a complete player. Like Kyle Pitts was considered a nightmare in terms of matchups because
Aren't they
he's faster than he ran like a 4.4.
Yeah, he was like
40.
Here's the thing
at
though.
6'8",
Aren't they like the
200
same age
pounds.
right now?
Kyle Pitts is 23. He's young as hell.
yeah.
But the thing is that
But
he's
that's
not
what I'm saying.
nearly-
Isn't Bowers
he's
like
not nearly
he's like
as
22,
good as-
right?
so no, he's 21.
Yeah,
But Brock
he was
Bowers
a
is
true junior coming
he's
out.
True
not,
junior
he's
coming
not
out, okay.
He's not as fast, and he's not like a deep threat like Kyle Pitts is. But he's
Yeah,
a
he's a
really
different
good
player,
blocking
yeah.
tight end, so he's just on
Mhm.
the field all the time, and he's
Constantly.
a good receiver. So he's more complete as a tight end.
Exactly.
Well, he plays
thought
tight end
behind
position.
He's
the whole,
21,
the
yeah.
whole hype around Kyle Pitts was highest drafted tight end ever, and he is basically not going to be blocking. He's just going to be running routes the whole time.
Right. That
Which
was
is
the that was the
which is the way
promise
he should
for
be
the first
utilized.
year, but it didn't
Yes.
manifest that secondarily
But-
because people
He should have just
like Arthur Smith don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Yes.
he should have just gone as a receiver.
That's
Like,
the thing
honest-
is that he's
You really
at the
should have.
pros at the pro level. He's kind of a tweener because he's good in a straight line. He's not like Justin Jefferson juking people because he's so big. His frame is so large that he just lumbers, but he's like fast as hell. So
Mhm.
he just
This was,
he needs to be used as a deep threat. Like
I mean, you're
deep
basically
threat tight end
describing like,
mismatch.
you're basically describing like rookie DK. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
is
Kyle
basically
Pitts-
Absolutely.
Kyle Pitts and DK are not too different,
No.
honestly.
No, they're really
I
not.
mean, at this point, DK has a much better route tree than he
Well, that's
did.
because
at
he's
a
an
rookie.
actual wide receiver. Kyle
He's, like,
Pitts is
actually a route runner now, and not just a deep threat. Like,
yeah.
I mean,
Right.
part of it being a star is you develop, and that's what you developed because
Right.
that's what you have to do. Like,
So does that then implicate the Falcons coaching for not developing Pitts as much? Would you
yeah,
say?
no, duplicate. What do you mean? Like, look at that. It's the Falcons. like,
it.
they're Arthur Smith. Like, we still have Arthur Smith in Scott's life. This is like,
Yeah.
Yeah, this is fun.
So the thing with Kyle Pitts is the coaching situation never really favored him because they wanted to be a run first team. They have two
Always,
really
yeah.
solid running backs. They want to run the ball. They were I think they were the highest rate of run percentage last season with Algier and Bijan.
They're second to Green
And
Bay
then-
this year only because of the Jordan Love injuries.
And then his sophomore season, he had a multi-ligament tear in his knee. So he tore his MCL and PCL completely.
Brutal.
So he
Sure, is
he
it-
completely had to rebuild his knee. And multi-ligament knee injuries are
Take a
really hard
long
to come back
time.
from.
Take a long time to come back from.
It's not just like, oh, you'll be back in a year, and then after maybe middle of like a year and a half after the injury he'll be okay. No, he's still like last year looked like he was ailing from
I mean,
his knee,
Would
and
you?
he had the worst
you just-
quarterbacks. He had Mariota
Oh
and
yeah,
Desmond
and
Ridder
Ritter.
throwing
Yeah.
the ball, and
I
then
mean-
this year he gets a
nerve pinch,
statue.
like a nerve pinch for Mariota.
And
yeah.
that's the one difference I want to point out between Pitts and Bowers. Is that Bowers has been doing this production in the Pitts situation with absolute ass quarterbacking.
Yeah, I mean, I think
They have a
I'm
serviceable
going to take
line.
the victory lap and just say like, this is exactly what I predicted with Gardner Minshew because basically Brock Bowers is replicating the Michael Pittman role, and Michael Pittman had 116 catches last year.
PPR scam.
Yep,
Yeah.
PPR scam. Yep. And tight end tight end premium PPR scam is going to win you some games. That's the point. And that was my thinking with drafting him too. It's just if we can get a PPR scam out of this with tight end premium, then we're going to be in a much better place. And literally, he's my best skill position player at this point. So,
yeah.
But I'm just really interested to see where the Raiders go, because they're gonna. So right now on Tankathon, the Raiders are 2-8. They're currently fifth in the 2025 NFL draft. And when you look at the quarterback,
theoretically in quarterback range,
because right now it's Jacksonville. Is Jacksonville going to replace their quarterback?
He's getting Trevor Lawrence is getting traded to the Giants. Book it.
That would be really funny, because the Giants. So they're on this list. So Tennessee, they need a quarterback because Mayo Man ain't in it.
Trevor Lawrence is getting traded. That's the Jaguars' way.
We'll see. But as of right now, that the first overall isn't a quarterback being picked. Mm-hmm. Tennessee, they're going to pick a quarterback. The Browns, they're third right now. They need a quarterback despite the situation they're in.
Mm-hmm.
They have to get rid of Deshaun. He's trash. The Giants just benched their quarterback and then made him their third string because they're an evil organization that didn't want to pay him.
They don't want to pay anybody any contract incentives.
Yeah, which is why Saquon's an Eagle. And then you have Vegas. So that's 3 quarterbacks that go off the board. And currently, according to PFF's big board, that's Jalen Milroe, Cam Ward, and Shadir Sanders. So from there, Garrett Nussmeier, Drew Allar, Carson Beck, Quinn Ewers, these are second round guys.
Mm-hmm.
Or worse.
Mm.
So Vegas
may only be 2 first-round quarterbacks. Honestly,
this is a really poor draft for quarterbacks.
Vegas is kind of fucked.
Milroe and Cam Ward,
unless they tank a lot more.
Those guys are very specific, flawed prospects that teams are going to have to want to take. And Shadur Sanders, say whatever you want about the name, the Sanders whole deal, father son, but he's been a first-round draft pick since last year, basically.
I'm honestly way more excited about Shiloh Sanders than I am about Shadur as terms of a fantasy prospect.
So when you think about you fixing this issue in free agency, Sam Darnold is available. So it's not out of the realm of possibility that he signs a deal with one of those 4 teams.
But with the Raiders, Darnold has shown where he's at with particular organizations. He is capable in a well-run organization and incapable in a incapable in a bad organization. He didn't do well in Carolina. He didn't do well in New York.
He actually did.
As the
He
Jets.
actually did fine in Carolina.
He did okay.
He had a winning record.
He had a win streak in there.
Yeah.
I mean,
the Panthers are just terrible.
Right. I mean, that's part of the problem, right?
Is Panthers had Baker and Darnold on the team, and did that whole
they sucked.
Let him go. He got picked up by Sean McVay.
LA, yeah,
game
exactly.
Next week, and LA won, and the Panthers lost.
No,
it
was extremely brutal. And the Panthers are bad. The Jets are bad. No one's denying that. And those organizations are bad. The coaching staffs are bad. Everything about them are bad, and they put people up. They set people up for failure in both of those organizations.
Yeah. But who else would you get? Because the next, I'm just looking at players that are guaranteed unrestricted free agents. That their team isn't gonna go in.
Right, they're not gonna pick them back up.
They're not a restricted free agent. The next one is Zach Wilson. There's no more names. Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, Jacoby Brissett, Taylor Heineke, Marcus Mariota, Drew Lock, Jarrett Stidham, Andy Dalton, Justin Fields. Someone will probably take a shot on him.
Justin Fields could be a Raider.
Yeah. Joe Flacco.
Derek Carr won't go back, but he might not be a Saint.
He could, some team could trade for him that's QB needy.
Yeah.
Like, and the Saints could like take another quarterback. I mean, Geno Smith.
Didn't they?
I mean,
Didn't they pick one
Geno
last
Smith
year?
Like,
Geno Smith could totally move. Yeah.
Well,
Depending,
like-
but there's no quarterback right in the draft. So what are the Seahawks going to do? You know, like
Get Quinn Ewers because that's who John Schneider likes.
I don't
That's my
think that.
guess.
I don't think we're taking a quarterback.
I don't think so either. I want them to draft offensive line and then get a
Yeah.
quarterback later. But
I
that's
mean,
a topic for a different.
that. I mean,
Yeah, that's what
they
yeah,
better, right? I mean,
I
based
mean,
on their.
this
Based on
is
your
a
center
opportunity to talk about
retiring
Drake
last
May.
week, you definitely better. Like, holy
Well, it's
shit.
like- this is a way to talk about Drake May and Bo Nix, like these two flawed prospects that were coming out.
Mhm.
Like, both of them are fantasy relevant. Bo Nix like does have the check down merchant label, but at Auburn, like he's like was just terribly inaccurate downfield, and like now he's just efficient at it because like development, oldest rookie
Players
ever.
get better, you know?
And like he's got and like the offensive line in Denver actually has come together pretty well halfway through the season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you look at like Drake May, who has no offensive line, has like a slot receiver as his best weapon, and like, yeah, I mean, it's the Patriots. Like,
Yeah.
he's totally viable as like a spot streamer starter. Like,
As much as
I'm
I
not gonna-
hate giving Sean Payton any credit, I think he developed a good coaching staff in spite of himself, or put together a good coaching staff in spite of himself.
I think it was just like,
and
I mean, he's a douchebag and like
he's an
terrible,
ass.
like
He's a terrible man.
a terrible person. But like, I do think it's not like there is something about like having your own guy and like the support structure about believing
Right.
in somebody.
Yeah,
like-
that's true.
Like Russ isn't playing particularly like inspired, like prime Russell Wilson football.
But
He's
Tomlin
just-
clearly believes in him and wants to
Yeah,
give him the
Tomlin,
latitude
like-
to do Russ. And that's working for the team in a big way.
Yeah, like I mean, if things just break their way, like if just like three bad things happen to like teams ahead of them, like they could win it this year. They could like the right
The
injury luck, they
Steelers
could
are
totally beat the
absolutely
Giants.
contenders. They're
Yeah, they could
absolutely
beat the
contenders.
Giants, like Eli Manning Giants. Like, for sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely. They're completely contenders. And anybody sleeping on the Steelers at this point in the season is a fool. And it's like, it's not just the Mike Tomlin winning season thing, but like, this man knows how to construct a roster. He can really inspire a group of men. And he's a great coach. Like, there's no point in time in the entire time that I have been watching football that I have thought that Mike Tomlin was bad at what he did.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know?
I mean, it's,
The Steelers are legitimately the biggest threat to the Chiefs right now, in my opinion.
It's them and
Not
the
the Ravens.
Ravens. It's
It's
those
not the
two.
Bills. Even though the Bills beat them,
I mean,
I think honestly
those
it's
are the
Steelers.
three teams. Those are the three teams. Like, those are
Because
the only
the-
ones.
The Steelers' defense is so much better than the Chiefs' offense, and so much better than the Chiefs' defense that they can literally just beat them like 9-3
The
in a
addition
playoff game.
of Patrick Queen to the Steelers defense completely revolutionized them from last
I
year.
thi-
It's hard to say that and then the loss of Malay, who was a liability. So they
Well, and
upgraded
that
by
development of Joey Porter Jr. to be a legit like. I don't know where he is and like is he a perennial Pro Bowler type, but he is an above average starter to say the least.
he
in his
should
second
be a
year.
Pro Bowler
Like,
this year, I think.
well,
Because the
he's-
Pro Bowl is a
he can
low
be
bar, but
well,
he's
Pro
not
Bowler,
an All
like,
Pro.
being a-
But I think
mean,
he's a Pro Bowl.
not all pro. Yeah, no. There's like Buda Baker should be an All Pro, and
Correct.
like, who's the other?
They're
Sort of
absolutely phenomenal. I mean,
I guess Brian Branch.
Hamilton, Branch, Petre.
Dietrich, he can make all.
You could make All Pro. Any of those guys could make All Pro, and it would not be a knock on any of the others' abilities.
Yeah.
You know, like those
I mean,
they're
there
great
are 4
players.
positions. There are 4 All Pro slots.
Right. All 4 of them could make
Literally-
All Pro, and it would be warranted. You know.
All of them
I think
can
it's
make
going
All
to
Pro.
be more likely that like Antoine Winfield or
Yeah.
Jordan
Anton
Love.
Winfield could
won't make it because of
definitely.
time.
Yeah, Father
He
Time
missed
will have
time.
gotten him. And
No,
yeah,
no, he just
and
missed 2
injuries.
games.
Well, I mean, but
Injuries.
both of those are ultimately the same thing.
Yeah, but it's just like if you miss too much time, you just generally don't.
Yeah,
make
you
it.
don't make an All-Pro.
You
Yeah,
don't have to count the stats.
you don't have to be the complete Iron Man, but you better be.
Well, it's just like a lot of the All-Pro teams. I feel like a lot of it is stat driven, like especially like D end and
Yep.
like corner. Like,
Because nobody
if you-
watches
like,
tape for those
interceptions,
guys.
More interceptions, more sacks, the more likely you are to be on the team.
Bingo.
Like, it's just that
Yep,
simple.
it's splash plays.
Yeah. I mean, Deron Bland like deservingly won first team All Pro last year, but like
Deservingly, he
I
led
don't
the
know if he'll
league
make
in
the Pro Bowl this
interceptions
year.
in like an unprecedented way. But yeah, he may not make the Pro Bowl this year. Like that's
yeah,
I think
and that's part of the IDP thing too, right? Like
Pastor 10 has been really solid. And then
absolutely.
Quinion Mitchell, the Eagles corner that
Yep.
they drafted this season,
Phenomenal.
is legitimately like the best cornerback in the league right now. He's shutting people. If you look at the people he's does shadow
Quinion
and
Mitchell
coverage.
is crazy good. He's been crazy good since week 1. Like he's been absolutely phenomenal. Yeah. I took a big L on that. You know,
yeah, Steve came in here being like, "Eagle fucking suck." Like,
yeah,
no, out like.
No, he got me.
Like,
he got me for sure. Like I didn't think he was gonna be real, but yeah, no, he's.
Oh no, he's
phenomenal.
I remember this because I was bought in because he was the best player at the Senior Bowl.
Yeah, he was smoking people.
Honestly, just pay more attention to the Senior Bowl, everybody.
Yeah.
Like it really will earn you draft stats. Like it's really good. The players who do well there are like. The scouts who evaluate and bring people to the Senior Bowl are good. They're very good.
The national championship too. The national playoff college football and
playoff teams do well in the NFL typically. Yeah.
Well, like the national championship team always has like good IDP.
That's where JJ came from. JJ McCarthy came from there. You know.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
A big part of the reason why he got drafted as high as he did is because he's a winner, and NFL GMs care about that stat.
Stuff, yeah.
It's really simple. If they're a winner, they want him. And JJ McCarthy's a winner.
It's true.
Jaden Daniels
is not the best quarterback. He's not as toolsy as Jaden Daniels or Drake May or any of those guys, but he's a winner. And that's the reason why he got drafted so high. So did you guys want to talk about some of the stuff that happened this week? We lost Steve. Steve,
do you have any like?
You back?
Yep. Yeah, okay, you're back.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Sounds good. We'll pause.
Well, this is a good time to talk about the fact that like, if John Schneider doesn't re-sign Geno to a reasonable contract, I think we're kind of fucked because there's no way that we can bring in a rookie quarterback with like our line and like think that that's a good idea. Like our line is just as bad as like the Patriots.
I see this going one of 3 ways. Obviously, it has to go one way or the other, but I see 3 possibilities. The first possibility is that they give him some ridiculous contract that looks similar to like what Tua got, what Dak got, which would be awful. And he's just locked in as our franchise quarterback. Maybe they see him that way. I really don't think that they do, so I don't think that happens. I think that's the unlikely. But that's the most obvious thing that they could do to just solve this quarterback situation. And I really disagree with that idea. The second thing is that they'll probably restructure him on another team-friendly deal because Geno Smith is not stupid. He can test the free market, and this is the third thing I think they could do, is he could test the free market and
Brandon Ayuk him.
See what he can garner is in terms of a contract with other teams, and then be like, okay, this is what my offers were. Can you match that? Because he actually does like being in Seattle. He likes the city. He likes the team. He likes it. He's loyal to the team and has stuck around for a long time. So they'll give him an opportunity to match whatever offer he gets from other teams, probably because he wants to stay here. I honestly think if he goes anywhere else, he's going to be much worse than he is in Seattle. And
I mean, that's probably true, just because like you don't have the infrastructure for all those teams that we mentioned earlier. Like
yeah,
as much as like
we talking Geno?
yeah,
Yeah.
Geno
well, it's just like
contract.
any of those teams that we mentioned about like quarterback needy teams, like they don't have a JSN and DK Metcalf on the team, like for
Except
Geno to throw
yeah,
to.
no,
You're
yeah.
not asking Geno to run around and be like, you know, Lamar Jackson out there.
He could go to the Colts.
But
Colts
are,
have a
dude,
lot of
are
weapons.
they, they're not giving up.
Dude.
No,
Anthony Richardson, like, let's talk about him. Like, actually looking like a normal quarterback. Like, none of
He
that
looked
crazy
good.
bullshit. None of that terrible, like, rookie, like, whatever it is that's stupid they're doing in a second. You know, sailing balls over, like, people's heads. Like, if he
The
could just
benching
do
helped.
that
You're
for a
assuming
year,
you're
like,
assuming that Jim Irsay is going to do something that makes sense. So we all remember Jeff Saturday.
Yeah.
But the
Fair.
other
that
interesting
was actually
landing
like
place.
kind of genius, honestly. It was like honestly, no, like not a hot
Well,
take.
but-
Like he saved everybody like who would have taken that job, like whatever. Like
Yeah, you
bosses.
saved him. He took a bullet for everybody else in the Colts staff who could have, taken that hit.
How many interim black coaches does like some owner hire and never give an interview, even if they have like head coaching experience? Like that happens all the time. Like and like sure it's a little bit better for white coaches, but like any of the guys that are like serious about getting hired, we all know who they are. They're all defensive coordinators and like
Offensive coordinators.
teams that
Yep.
Yep. To watch.
They're right on the cusp of becoming a head coach for whatever reason.
It was actually kind of genius to like hire Jeff Saturday and have no intention of like
retaining. Yeah, exactly. Just being like,
yeah.
you are here for the
and
right,
like,
and that was fine, and everybody was happy.
It doesn't even come up. Like people don't talk about it. They're like, oh yeah, the one Jeff Saturday thing that happened because Jim Irsay is Jim Irsay.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, I kind of agree with you, Joe. I think that was a great choice as specifically as an interim head coach, because he was not going to be anything ever. And so there was never a coaching controversy. They could go into the offseason with all clear eyes open about who they were looking for and what they wanted. Didn't work out, obviously, at least not for the first year. But I think it would behoove the Colts to stay the course a little bit. And let things kind of. I mean, they really have to. They don't have the financial ability to from a lot of these players. So they're kind of stuck. But at the same time, they've got a good option. Like
the other place Geno could go is the Jets, which would be hilarious.
No,
that would be the height of comedy.
It just
the height of comedy.
Look, I just don't think that there's any way that Geno goes there. I don't think there's any way he goes back.
No, that's like Bill Belichick going to the Jets. Like it's just like I don't see it.
There's just no way.
Money talks.
Money does talk, especially if you're a player. Money talks.
And the Jets are stupid enough to give him like
if they give him like
for 4
the
years.
Dak contract, dude, he should go if they give him the Dak contract. Like, are you kidding
Yeah.
me?
Okay.
That's
Yeah.
sure.
Sure.
Dude, like,
Sure.
Bro, you would do that too.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Absolutely.
I'll get busted up for a fucking year, getting sacked for like whatever.
The Jets roster is stacked too. Like it is just an abject horror what's going on over there with the level of talent they have on both sides of the ball.
They're like the Seahawks, except like worse coached because they have the same problem.
Bingo.
They have like a great offensive line. They don't have a great offensive line, but they've got like two good skill players. Well, we have better skill players than they.
Well, okay. The Jets have Brees, Devontae. That's about where it ends. Garrett Wilson counts. He counts.
Garrett Wilson is good. Like he's a good.
The
player.
Seahawks have DK, JSN,
K9.
That's about the same.
Tyler.
Lockett counts.
Lockett's still relevant.
Lockett counts. He's not phenomenal, but he counts. Absolutely, as a really good skill player. And the Jets don't have. I mean, their next best is Alan Lazard or fucking Tyler Conklin. So Braylon Allen might be even better. Yeah, as Lazard's fucked.
Braylon Allen's probably better than Alan Lazard. Like honestly.
At this point, yeah, absolutely. So
yeah,
still not great, Jim.
Yep. Anyway, the Geno thing is going to be really interesting at the end of the season.
Yeah.
But
We'll
yeah,
see what happens there.
Yeah.
But I really think we should take a tackle. Like we should just take like a tackle and just move him to guard or to replace Abe Lucas. Like either or.
You should.
I just hope Abe Lucas can stick around.
You need a tackle and a genuine center.
Well, they should see what they have in Oluwatimi. Like, my God, I don't understand why we hired why they hired like Connor Williams at all. I never understood the move. Like Olu wasn't bad in his like few starts last year. Like he was good at pass protecting, like really good at pass protecting for a rookie, and like not terribly good at like run blocking, which is probably why they did it. But like,
right,
you know,
but you do
he's
need
got the most
hell. You got to
skill.
develop somehow.
Well, you've got to take shots on your draft picks. Like they do this all the time. The Seahawks specifically, it's like Kobe Bryant like had a great rookie year, had like 4 forced fumbles, like played the slot really well, and then they like didn't have a plan for him once like they drafted like Spoon and like what's the Jim Thorpe Award? Like he was a good like recognized safe like
right
corner
yeah
across from Sauce, and it's like why wouldn't you just see if you got something in this guy? Like
right.
Olu was in
Why
that
not?
same mold. He was the Remington Award winner, like the best center in college football. It's like just see if you have something. Just come on, guys.
Wait. You have a dude who's stuck on your bench behind the dude who just retired, who won an award for being the best center in college football.
Yeah.
What the fuck, Seahawks?
He wasn't that good last year, and he also is a converted. He's actually a guard.
No. Oluwatimi is a true center.
I mean,
Oluwatimi is
that's
a
how
true
we
center.
use him.
No, but he is. He's
But
old,
he played center at Michigan. Okay, he's a true center.
He played center at Michigan. Like,
why are you not letting this dude develop?
Because
he was shaky last year. Like they had a need.
No, but this is what. No, you have to. It doesn't. No, there is no good explanation. You could say because but
bullshit.
It's not good. We should have just like seen what we had in him.
That's bullshit. No. Like it's bullshit.
That's free agent center that they could and they went and got him.
No. But like,
terrible.
Is Connor Williams? Has he been a player coach? You know.
No.
For Kiddo, no. He's been a starter. Like he's been working on his own shit. You know.
Yeah.
So what this has
back from injury.
All this has done is hamper Oluwatimi, is that right?
Oluwatimi.
Okay. Oluwatimi's development.
Olu.
Yeah. Olu's development.
The issue with the Seahawks is
there's a lot of them.
It's not the center. It's the fact that they refuse to invest in guard and tackle.
Right. Other parts of the line. I mean,
the center
clearly that needs to happen for this draft.
Like his rookie year he was better than Charles Cross, got hurt, like seriously hurt. Like where like there were reports that like, oh, we think he might have a degenerative knee injury. He has gone on the record and said that it is not true, like when specifically asked about it. But it's still like it doesn't matter if it's degenerative. It's like
it was significant at least.
18 months of time. You've missed year and a half, a season and a half. Like it's a serious injury, and so he may never get right ever. Anyway, it doesn't have to be degenerative.
Yes.
Like, and
shit,
he looked good this last week.
Sorry, I'm the Kraken game.
Right.
I thought they scored, but they did not.
Yeah. But like Will Campbell, like there's a bunch of like tackles or Skorsky, the kid from Texas A&M. I forget.
Skowronek? No, he's the that's the wide receiver from the Rams.
Skowronek was that random wide receiver.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
It's
Skowilse?
Yeah.
Something like that.
No, it's
something like
ST
that.
something. It's pretty short, but like there's a whole bunch of like tackles in this class, like really good tackles in this draft class that are all going to get moved to guard. And so like they're going to be even better guards because like
good tackles in college are tend to be good guards in the NFL.
Yeah. And so like we should just take one of these like guys high and just like Zach Martin him. Like Zach Martin was a left tackle in college, got drafted to replace like Tyron Smith got moved to guard, and was just like, a Hall of Famer. Like,
As long as they don't flip from one side
Yeah.
to the other, I don't really care, honestly.
unless you're like just a super athlete.
Look, I'm totally with you. The Packers are known
Joe Alt-
particularly for their cross training on guards and tackles and everything, because why wouldn't you at that point? Like, make sure you have redundancy of your best players on the offensive line, even if it's not their optimal position.
Seahawks don't do that. Our philosophy for like a decade at this point has been it's an afterthought. It's literally
No, that's the problem. That's been a problem,
overpaid and
right?
overdrafted.
Like, the answer to your problem is the Packers' solution is cross train everybody, right? And try and get good players, draft good players, and cross train everybody to make sure that the holes get filled.
Well,
and the Packers have had an average offensive line for basically generations now, and average is enough.
No, you should be paying safeties $25 million a year and shit like that.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah.
And trading 2 picks.
Look, I should
for Jamal Adams.
let me retract my statement, because the Packers just paid $29 million to Xavier McKinney, but at the same time, that guy's been worth it. So,
that's what you said about Jamal Adams. So
yeah, same cannot be said about Jamal Adams.
No, we said the same thing after the first year, because he broke the sack.
Oh, that's actually a really good point.
Was like a second team All-Pro, good in coverage. Like,
here's my deal though. Xavier McKinney already has more interceptions alone than the entire Packers team of 2023. Worth it.
Not great, Bob.
Not great, Bob. It's an improvement over very bad, but we'll take it.
This is the Eagles just get Cooper DeJean and Quinion Mitchell, fix their secondary, and like just Packers can't get it together.
I really wish the Packers had taken Cooper DeJean. I'm okay with what we got, but at the same time, I really wish we had taken DeJean.
So,
do you know there are 2 white corners in the league?
What?
There are 2 starting white corners in the league.
Yeah, they're both from Iowa. Their names are Riley Moss and Cooper DeJean.
Yep.
They're on Denver and Philadelphia.
Yeah, it is Denver. Yeah, and their secondary is incredible. Like,
I don't know where Iowa found the white corners, but Iowa is where the white cornerbacks come from. And for some reason, this makes me feel like I am justified in saying that I feel like if I were in the NFL, I should play cornerback. I'm way too small. But, like...
Not yet, no.
No, I know. But, like, I've always thought, like, as misguided as this absolutely sounds, that if I were going to play football, I would play cornerback.
I mean, they'd convert you to safety.
Too high, too slow.
Yeah, I'd get converted to safety, and I'd be over here Harrison Butkering everybody to death.
Like Waterboy.
I mean, likely. I'm athletic, but I'm not that athletic.
I wanted to talk a bit about Week 11 stuff that happened.
Yeah, let's talk. We've been delaying that for too long.
Kliff, Kingsbury is poofed. Joe was right. It is here.
Victory lap on that, Steve.
Yep. Yeah, okay, fair.
Jaden Daniels thing is happening. Like,
the Jaden Daniels collapse.
The Kliff teams are like, Kliff, this is a good trick you're pulling again. Like, maybe it's your fault. Maybe you're playing too much Call of Duty, my guy. Like, no.
Like, what is going on? Terry McLaurin was tearing it up. And
absolutely wide open for half the season, and now gone?
Yeah, I mean, he's been solid for fantasy.
I think Jaden Daniels is just really hurt and playing through something.
That's exactly it. Rib injury. It's a major rib injury on his throwing arm side from a helmet impact to his chest. He's basically playing through a broken rib, I believe, or at least fractured.
I just think he's
and that's gonna fucking impact your accuracy.
I mean, I bet he's like got some sort of weird cartilage thing. If it's like really a problem, like. Other than the broken rib, I bet it's like a cartilage thing. So it's like not just a broken rib; it's more complicated.
Yeah,
because like
he's still taking hits.
The kind of thing
I mean, it's but still
just give you the juice, and
They'll
hopefully
give you the
don't
go
Tyrod
juice,
Taylor you.
but still, it doesn't like. It will still hurt. And
I mean, yeah,
yeah,
I mean, this is
and
why,
it's
like,
still the
Super Bowl
Commanders
is
too.
so
Holy
bad.
shit! God, thank God, it's a new medical regime, a completely new medical regime there, because that is exactly how Tyrod Taylor happened. I'm mad at you for even invoking that at this point. Like for my fantasy hopes, it's bad news. Don't Tyrod Taylor me.
Yeah, I mean, injuries, like if you look at like Justin Herbert, who had a fucking game. Like you guys watched Monday, right?
It was phenomenal.
Monday night?
That was Justin
Joe
Herbert's
Burrow
best
versus,
game
like,
this
Justin
season.
Herbert. Like we haven't seen that Justin Herbert doing that for a year and a half now. He's
Easily.
just been like hurt.
Yeah.
Like he had the plantar fasciitis to enter the season, like whatever that was.
Mhm.
Like yeah.
That's a training injury. That's a training injury for sure.
It was
you know?
significant enough that my Chargers friend hopped in my Discord and said, Chargers Super Bowl. If I say it my entire life, then it's going to happen eventually. And then he tagged me. I was like, I believe.
Amazing. Was that Peak?
But, yeah, it was Peak.
Yeah, Peak.
But I also watched the Jaguars absolutely.
Oh, you actually watched that?
Dumpster.
Dude.
No. The playoff game against the Chargers.
Oh yeah.
A choke that, in my opinion, was greater than the Falcons Super Bowl choke, which was, of course, worse because of the Super Bowl. But
wait, are you talking about the Jaguars one?
No,
Yeah,
the one where the Chargers lost
back.
to the Jaguars. The Jaguars came back like 27 points or something.
Yeah, that one. Yeah,
Like 2 years ago. Yeah.
It was 28-0 at the half.
the
And they
fighting
lost.
Chargers.
Yeah.
moment.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah. The most Charger. Yeah.
Like, bruh, like the most chargering.
Dude, I don't know what it is about cursed AFC teams that really gets my goat, but I love the Jets and the Chargers way too much. Like,
Well, I like Herbert's like I have Herbert. Like it's really exciting to see him back because like he's also like I've got three picks on like quarterbacks that I believed in coming out of the drafts, and like so far the actual three that like I've taken in fantasy have all worked out. Like Josh Allen, Herbert, and at this point like Drake May. Like yeah,
we'll see.
need to keep the
I just
going.
legitimately like the Chargers.
We'll keep the options open. I like the Chargers a lot.
They got shafted.
I love the Chargers. Yeah, no, I'm all
I
in.
think they're a really fun team.
That's
Like
man.
their media is fun. Like the anime intros for a couple years have been absolutely phenomenal. I think the team
Fuck the Rams.
It's fuck the Rams. Fuck the Rams. You're not really a Southern California team. The fucking Chargers are. Like, let's support them. Yeah, like
just like Trevor says, he refuses to say.
It's San Diego. Yeah, it's San Diego Chargers. Let's be real. They're from San Diego. They should be back in San Diego. Send them back.
All the fans are driving up from San Diego.
Yeah,
to LA
let's go. Like, I'm
actually surprised at the size of the Chargers like subreddit. How many people are in that? It's one of the largest ones. It's got like 350K users.
They're big, man.
It's also people like us that just feel bad.
Yeah. But no. But there's something to that. Like, the Packers wouldn't have the national audience that they do now if it weren't for the suck years.
Oh my God! You cannot compare the Packers to the Chargers. The Packers are one of the original.
They're one of the original teams. I know, but like they have the Packers' suck years were long and hard. They're before my time, absolutely.
They were there from the beginning.
But the Chargers are an expansion team, and they're fucking wild. Right? Yeah,
they're passed around like a whore. It's terrible.
It's bad, but I love them nonetheless. Like
they're probably going to end up in a foreign country. We're going to be like the Tijuana Chargers or some bullshit like that.
That'd be better for the San Diego folks than LA. It's a shorter commute.
Less traffic.
Yeah, exactly. It's less traffic to go through the border than to go through LA.
Yeah.
Don't doubt it.
But yeah, no, I like Justin Herbert. My hot take has always been that Justin Herbert is better than Joe Burrow. That's always been my hot take. Like, I don't care. Like, I know it's a hot take.
There's a lot of Joe Burrow haters.
I'm tempted.
I am 100% one of those dudes.
I do not like Joe
Burrow.
Tempted to agree with you.
I know he's good. I just think he's overrated.
I think Joe Burrow is playing the best football of his life right now, and his team is just letting him down. I saw this video
This is
of
the Deshaun thing all over again. Like Deshaun last year in like the Texans, like he was absolutely killing it that year, and that team
yeah,
sucked.
yeah. I saw a mic'd up where it was like a supercut of the other players other than Deshaun on that team that year, and Joey Bosa was at one point was walking the locker room after a loss and was talking to Deshaun and was said,
TJ
I'm
Watt.
sorry.
You mean
or
TJ
Watt.
JJ
Yeah,
Watt?
sorry.
Yeah, JJ Watt.
JJ Watt. That's what I mean. He said, I'm sorry, man. We wasted another one of your best years. And Deshaun was just like, I don't know what to say to that. You know? I feel like that's what's going on with Joe Burrow. His team is just letting him down. He's playing
Oh, yeah.
lights out. It's insane.
It's him and
He
Jamar
puts the
Chase.
whole
That's
team on
it.
his back.
I really want to root for Joe Burrow because he's such a good dude on top of being a good quarterback. You know, like he's one of those guys who you'd like to root for, and I like to root for Herbert too. I think they're both like phenomenal athletes and phenomenal people, and like
Joe Burrow is the quarterback you want for your team. Like people in Ohio love him because
I mean he's homegrown. He's from Akron.
Yeah, he's from Ohio. He's
Like
talks-
he
and when
knows
talks
the
about-
shit. He's been there. He's done it, and he's like exactly that. You know, like
and when he talks to the media, his thing is always, you know, taking accountability. He's clearly a leader. He's
he's responsible. Yeah, he's a good dude.
When they asked him, like, after that crushing defeat a couple of years back, in the Super Bowl, they asked him, you know, was that it? Like, how do you feel about your opportunity to try to be in another Super Bowl in the future? And he basically just said, the window for the Bengals, not for me, the window for the Bengals is as long as my career. And it's just like, that's the kind of player that you want quarterbacking for your team that you root
Absolutely.
for. That's
Absolutely.
why I like Joe Burrow, because he's just like,
I mean,
he may not be the best quarterback in the league, but he's a good leader, and he's an
stand
awesome
up,
player.
dude. Stand up, fucking dude. And yeah,
I don't
look.
I
As
don't
much
care.
as we hate
This
Ohio,
is like the
like-
biggest difference between like me and you guys is like I don't give a fuck about none of that. Like I don't care.
that's fair.
Like
You don't
it's
have
fine.
to.
Like do your shit in the community. That's cool. Like it's nice to like be a part, like to actually see like people like invest in places they don't really have any sort of reason other than they work there to invest in. Like that's a cool thing.
I mean, but for Joe
That's
Burrow,
fine.
it isn't more
I
than
don't
just
care. I
they
don't
work
like-
there.
like,
He
I
grew
just
up
don't like the
there.
whole
Like
Joe
that's
Burrow
his whole
narrative.
shtick.
I don't like it. It's like I don't know. Like it's fine. He's like it's not. It's just like I mean the football narrative, not like him.
Oh
personally.
yeah. Okay, yeah. Sure. The football narrative is a little overblown because, but the Bengals are good. Like
No, they're not.
No,
not this
They're
year.
4 wins.
they haven't
not
been
this
good
year.
since the Super Bowl year. Like they just haven't. And Joe Burrow is like he
Yeah.
is such the definition of inconsistent, but everybody thinks he's great. And being good means you're not inconsistent.
I think last year his main problem was more the consistent injury, and that's going to be
No,
what he overcomes for the rest of his career. But
I
like,
don't know if it's just the injury, but it's just like every
I think when
year-
he's healthy, he's pretty consistent. Like,
No, like this year he did the same thing he did every year, which was suck for a month.
every quarterback
Like, he
sucks for a
always-
month unless they're Tom fucking Brady. Like,
Yeah,
come
this year.
on. If you don't have 4 suck weeks in the NFL season, you're not quarterbacking. Like,
Those are-
everybody
suck,
has
but it's
bad
happening.
games.
Those are happening at the same time. It's okay to like do it, spread it out.
You can't
Sure.
have one month
You
of
bunch them up. Yeah, it's bad. But
You can't,
like,
That's my
people
problem with
don't
Geno.
get fired if they lose 5 games in a season. They get fired if they lose 5 games in a row.
yeah, okay, that's fair. That's absolutely
You
fair.
just can't-
Because that feels like a
Joe Burrow
desperate
just can't
skid.
suck for the first month of the season every year, and at the end of it be like, oh yeah,
Yeah, it
he's great.
hamstrings. It absolutely hamstrings the Bengals every single year.
Gotta
No, you're
win.
not wrong. You're not wrong about that.
Yeah.
It's much
he
easier to
gets
spread
good
that
in the
out
end, sure,
over
but
the
it's like-
Yeah. Yeah, right.
Like right now, like he and Chase almost broke the silliest stat in the world, which is Joe Flacco throwing like Amari Cooper the most air yards in a game. Like the fact that that's Joe Flacco and Amari Cooper and not Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase actually shouldn't be a thing. It's
Yeah,
like,
it
he got
honestly
2 more
should be
yards,
those two.
not-
Yeah,
that should have been the thing.
yeah.
Like, yeah. Yeah, Joe Burrow, like, clearly is a good player. It's just, like, he is, like, the definition of inconsistent. And part of it is injuries, yeah. But he had a full training, like, off-season this year. Like, had, like, generally, like, the wrist injury, like, was overblown. Like, he had the full training camp. And, like, yeah.
When it's your throwing wrist, it's a little bit different.
Yeah. Like,
This
He's-
season.
You're right though.
fine.
You're
He's
right
the
though.
same thing, though.
He's
He just
had
did the
he's
same
had
thing.
every single opportunity to stay healthy this season and like not fuck around and not be bad, but at the same time, like he hasn't been phenomenal. And his defense has let him down a lot too, and that's part of what the Bengals record
he's
is.
been
But
really good. It's like
He's had 3 bad games.
this past month. Like,
Yeah,
he's
three
been-
bad
good.
games this
he's
season.
been good. He's been above average good this season. But
He's legitimately one of the best quarterbacks in the league right now.
the Bengals defense sucks in a lot of ways. Like their secondary is hot ass.
Dude, he has 27 passing touchdowns and 4 interceptions.
Yeah, dude, he's having a
That's
season, man.
that's a
He's
season
for
for
sure.
sure. He's like that's in
He's getting
the
let down by his defense is horrible. Cam Taylor-Britt talking shit and then getting smoked
Dude.
every game. Over
dude.
and over again.
That's what I'm saying. Is it's not even their
He's leading the league in
line.
sacks, too. Isn't he
Right.
still?
It's like yeah, I think
Yeah.
so. It's like that's what I'm saying. It's like their linebacking core is ass and their secondary is ass. Like the only thing that the Bengals defense has to stand on is their D line, and even that, like they've got a couple good dudes, and that's about it. Like
Well,
their
they've got, like-
defense is hot ass. They were playing
I don't think
Eli
they have the
Apple
rotation
2 years
for
ago.
it.
Like that dude got smoked more than anybody else. Or Eli Apple was on the team last fucking year, right?
Yeah.
And they're trying
Apple's
to
on the
recover
league.
from
On the
that.
Char-
He's on the Chargers. He doesn't get a lot of snaps, but he's on the Chargers.
I'm pretty sure he's on the Chargers.
They're
Anyway.
also the
Anyway,
Bengals in particular are kind of on the other end of the 7-0 Vikings team from a couple years ago where
Oh,
they just
sure.
won
Yeah, yeah,
every
yeah.
single 1-score game.
How
They've
many-
lost like all the 1-score games? that
how
they've
many
played.
how many have they played though? Do you have that stat on hand?
of 1-score games they've lost?
Yeah, what's their WL in 1-score games?
I think if you flip all the results, they're 8-3 or something like that.
Well, that's significant because that's like
Yeah,
6 games, 7 games.
Yeah, you got to win those.
because they lost. So they lost
You do.
to Kansas City by one point. They lost against the Commander. So New England, Kansas City, Washington. The first 3 L's they took were by 1 score.
Brutal.
Baltimore was 1 score.
Mhm.
The Giants, that wasn't 1 score. And then
No, the Giants
Baltimore
stomped
last
them
week-
for some
last-
reason.
Both
Trap
Baltimore
game.
games were by like 2 points.
Yeah, the Baltimore
field
games
goal
have
one,
been extremely
one was-
good.
Yeah, 2 points in the most recent one they would have won,
Right.
and then that's it. So yeah, they've had a lot of 1-score.
That's like 7 or 8
unlucky
of
or
11
didn't execute.
1-score games. Like that's
But they shouldn't be losing to Baltimore 38-41 and 34-35. Like, good on Baltimore for getting the win there.
Mhm.
But like,
Some of that
you
is
know,
T. Higgins being gone. Like, that team's very different without T. Higgins.
It's true. And T. Higgins is a injury liability.
Like,
T.
he's a very
Higgins has
good
also been really good since you traded him, which is hilarious to me.
player. Yeah.
Is
Like,
it not
really
the
good.
way? He's been phenomenal since I traded him. Since the
He was
moment he exited my roster, he's been great
blew up.
for
Well, he got
every
injured.
single
He was
game
out for
but
3
one.
games.
Well,
Well, he
yeah,
was out
when he
for
was
3
not
games.
injured. Yeah.
Every game that Josh starts him, he's just like, hey.
Yeah, no, and well, good for you, Josh. You're still not
Yep.
going to make playoffs. Enjoy that high draft pick.
I mean, I would if I was him. His team is fucking stacked.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been
I mean, I would.
it's
I
been
would-
such
I
a
would-
rash of bad luck. Like
Yeah.
you're at a point where if you can like, take you know what? We'll see how the draft winds up materializing.
Yeah.
But you're in a good position, my man. So
Well,
enjoy that at least, even though this season is a wash for you.
I mean, if I take another like Jamar Chase, Saquon Barkley game, like if I just take like take another L to like the best like performance of the week, like yeah, like fine, like all right, I guess.
You're still locked in the 6th seed, Joe, by like nearly 200 points. I have a breaking update regarding a correction in this week's podcast that I have to interject with. Joe is not actually the leader for the 6th seed. He has the exact same record as Ben, and Ben has 30 more points for on the whole year so far. So that's an interesting match to actually consider and look at further. However, I am in error for the rest of the podcast. Apologies, Ben. Suck it, Joe.
Really?
Seriously. No, I wish I was joking about that. Like, you are nearly 200 more in PF than everybody else who's 6-6.
I don't think Joe's gonna get in by the 6th seed.
I think that's gonna be somebody else.
Like me and Danny and.
Well, okay. So here's look. I got it. So as of right now, Trevor is the only one locked into a playoff spot.
Oh, of course, he's fucking 10-1. The motherfucker has all the running backs.
He does. He certainly does.
Yeah. Disgusting.
Steve, Scott, Danny, and Casey are currently the top 4 behind him, and so that makes the top 5.
Yeah, that sounds like the teams that are going to be fighting for the 6th seed to me.
Right. See, this is all fucked up. So then, Joe, John, Jordan, Kelsey, and Ben are all 5 and 6. There's a lot of fucking strong teams right there.
Yeah.
And then the two likely eliminated. Really no, Kelsey's team is great. She's got a lot of great wide receivers. She's been stacking on depth in there, and she has decent running backs and good quarterbacks. Kelsey's got a good set.
You guys shit on her for trading with me for Rico Dowdle, but he's been actually pretty good.
He has. He's come on. Like
he's like the
gong
weapon.
But yes, absolutely. The Cowboys are so fraudulent because of Cooper Rush. All of the wide receivers and pass catchers have just gone away, and the only thing that's effective is the running game. Like, literally, they're trying to put CeeDee Lamb in the jet sweep in order to get him touches because they can't trust Cooper Rush in order to get him the ball.
Dallas had 2 good weeks.
Dallas is fucked. Anyway,
Darnold just breaking off runs left. He doesn't ever get like the home run shot, like the 76-yard touchdowns, but he's always like 6 yards, 10 yards, 3 yards, 4 yards, 5, 6. He doesn't ever get negative rush, 1 yard.
I said I wasn't gonna do it, but we got to be right here. So I mean, like, here's the thing. Danny can take 2 L's before he's likely eliminated from everything. He plays Trevor this week. That's not as consequential of a game for Danny because he can take one more, but there's still a lot of running backs going on in this game.
Jerry Jeudy did something this week, Danny.
So, but Danny in the 6 and 5ers is likely going to a 6 and 6. Like I said earlier, one between Casey and I, one of us is going to 6 and 6. So there's going to be some folks going down and some folks going up, regardless. Between the Joe, John, Jordan, Kelsey, and Ben.
Danny picked up Gabe Davis after I dropped him, and he immediately went to IR.
Yes, yes, which is great. I mean, I feel like that's mostly a lack of research on Danny's part.
Sorry, Danny.
But
no, he was fine. He was fine.
He was fine when he dropped him.
Yeah, he was fine when he was like trending in the right direction.
Oh my god!
And then Danny got him off the waivers and immediately season over.
Yeah, brutal. Better drop him. Look, Gabe Davis is nothing, was nothing, and forever will be nothing. Drop him.
But 5 touchdowns in the playoff game against the Chiefs.
That
nonsense. It was an anomaly.
Gabe Davis is like a lifestyle choice. Okay, Steve.
It's a lifestyle choice.
He's the kind of player. He's the kind of player that Jordan likes. Like Jordan has a type. He's got the Gabe Davis type. He likes Gabe Davis.
Is this like how Casey only has running quarterbacks, basically?
Yeah, it's the same. He's like
the type.
Casey's a butt man, clearly.
Need that booty.
Got to type.
Gotta type. Anyway, so, but yeah, I mean, look, so Joe, you're playing Jordan this week, which is basically an elimination match between you two, except not for you.
I guess.
You mean outside of wild card?
Yeah, outside a wild card, exactly. Like if you lose this match, you are basically toasted, except for the wild card inclusion.
Yeah, that's interesting because Jordan's getting Christian McCaffrey
is back and coming back. Exactly. I mean, that's like kind of a. That's what's dangerous about this for you is that like because you could really like, by all means, based on your record, watch out for that one. Yeah, it's coming to one him back. So yeah, I mean, but like this is an important week for you in terms of the game and for Jordan too, because like Jordan could theoretically pull off one of the most relevant comebacks in our league in a long time if he wins out.
In the Shadow Realm. He was in the Shadow Realm.
He was in the absolute Shadow Realm, and he could 100% come back.
He was in like the Steve zone, like deep Steve zone.
Absolute. Well, no, like even worse because like, so Jordan's playing Joe this week, and then here's the problem: Trevor next week.
Oh, you're gonna get smoked by Trevor's.
And then Danny.
Who beat Trevor, by the way?
Danny.
Oh, that's right. Danny beat him.
Danny's the only one who's beat Trevor so far.
That's right.
But like, if Jordan wins this week and loses next week, he's summarily eliminated, basically at that point. Because I still don't think anybody with 7 losses is actually going to make it due to the amount of parity that's going on in the teams. You're gonna barely miss. And again, if Joe loses to you, Jordan, this round, then he's an absolute lock for the wild card 16. Because again, like literally 200 points ahead of everybody else at this point. Basically no way that's gonna get surmounted. This is the most consequential week aside from week 14 in our league's history.
This is crazy.
That's an important thing.
That really sucks ass.
I know, it's not a fun place to be. Like
exactly what I was last year. Like get it like
you won. You literally won off of it, but
yeah, I know. But it's like a shitty position to be in if you don't win because
yeah.
It's like there's like you're gonna get good players like at the 6th seed. You're like in our draft. Like there's gonna be 6 relevant fantasy players in the next draft. Your like likelihood of getting one is good.
Pretty good.
Like if you're in that middle area, like
at the if you're this
gonna lead the rookies in like yardage. Like
you're not getting like Ted McMillan or Agbuka or Gianti or any of them though.
No,
you're gonna get whatever's
left.
No,
you're not. No,
you're not getting one of the top 5s. No, but you're
getting
getting 7, 8, 9, 10, which is still fine. Like depending on your team need, getting a top 10 player is still good.
Yeah.
Right. The people who really lose out are the folks who are in the championship. That's the way it goes.
That's kind of the turn. Like is that 11, 12 where you start having like.
That's where it gets a little shakier.
Like, situational luck. Like I don't think Keon Coleman was a bad pick or anything, but like if Keon Coleman went to anywhere but the Bills, like how much, like what's his trajectory?
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
You know.
Absolutely.
And last year's draft
was
unbelievably stacked.
But that's the situation, and you always have to play the situation as well as the player, right? Like it's 75% player, 25% situation for me, at least when I'm like roughly calculating what's going on when I'm thinking about a draft. But yeah, I mean, literally.
Where I stop caring and I just take talent. I think in the 3rd round is that point.
Sure.
Yeah,
yeah.
When Steve
Absolutely.
picked BTJ, which was the one I wanted.
He was your draft crush for good reason.
Yeah, I wanted basically after he was the last player of that tier that I wanted, and then that's why I sat there for like 8 minutes just being like, who do I want? And I went with Ricky Pearsall because of his talent.
One of my proudest
Purely
moments is making you sit there for 8 minutes trying to figure out who to pick. And you made a good pick, though. Like, Pearsall looks good. Like, he's not the WR1 yet. The WR1 in San Francisco right now is Jauan Jennings, of all things, which is insane. But, yeah, third and Jauan.
He is the West Coast Khalil Shakir.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a great... Actually, it's a really good way of putting it. Is the West Coast Khalil Shakir is Jauan Jennings. But, yeah, I mean, like, Pearsall has every opportunity to take over that wide receiver room in the next, year. And that'll be fantastic for him.
I don't think he's... So. I don't know if he's ever going to be as good as Ayuk. I just don't know. Like Ayuk,
that's fair, but they won't be able to keep him.
No, they paid him.
Oh, they paid Ayuk. Wait, did they pay Debo and Ayuk?
No, that's the thing. They
so
did not pay
Debo's
Debo.
going.
Oh no, they paid Trent Williams. That's who they paid.
They paid Trent Williams. Yeah. They paid Ayuk, and they paid Jauan. They paid those guys.
And they paid McCaffrey.
And McCaffrey.
And they can't pay Debo.
They paid him.
They can't. So here's the thing. Purdy's contract is up in 2 years.
No, it's this year. He's extension eligible.
Oh, right, because he's a fifth. He's not a first. He's not a first or second. So it's
irrelevant.
Yeah, he's a seventh rounder. So he only gets a 4-year contract, right?
3
for the 3-year for the rookie CBA. Yeah. So they are boned soon.
They've got something like $55 million in effective cap space, and it's all going to Purdy.
Right. Okay.
They might have to
They're probably going to have to restructure Bosa and a couple of other folks in order to
Kittle, Bosa, and
there's going to be some void years and some cap hell going on for the 49ers in order to keep their window open.
I'm here for it. The 49ers window losing to the Seahawks. There was a resounding.
Oh, that's an extremely fun result for everybody involved in this podcast. We all loved watching the 49ers lose. Like, that's...
You don't understand.
Honestly,
Geno Smith, one of the reasons why I don't like Geno Smith is he could never beat the Niners. Ever.
We got him, though. You got him.
I love... Russell Wilson was like 14-3 or something.
You got him!
But you finally did it.
Did it. That's
really
that's player development.
Well, I think... like over the time that he's actually been the Seahawks quarterback, like it is the perfect opportunity to actually develop players and then just drop a rookie in there or the next Matt Stafford and go. You're gonna have to choose one direction eventually, but
no, I think that makes sense. I think that makes a lot of sense.
In the end, is you start taking, this is the time where we start taking offensive line players, just heavily investing in the first 2 rounds and offensive line, get hopefully hit on that, and then you make the choice.
Right, and if you feel like you've got something good, then you trade for the quarterback and go, and try to make the run at that point, because you'll still have JSN for 2 years, you'll have DK for 1.5 years. Or at least a year at that point.
He had 3 years, so he could hit the market again. I think we'll pay him just because he'll still be in his prime.
Likely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. There's no reason not to at this point. There's no reason to not pay DK his money. He's a Seattle dude. He's a fan favorite. He sells tickets. He's a great guy.
Which is thing in the football.
Huge for, especially in the Seattle market, which can be kind of pernicious to its football team.
Well, it's also you don't have another beloved figure. There's Geno is not some sort of
controversial
beloved, figure. He's not Marshawn.
You don't have a defensive stud that really stands out like Bobby would have, or something at this point.
Their defense is Cheeks. It's been Cheeks for 8 years.
It's not the Seattle way. Well, at least not the Seattle winning way.
No, we just got safeties and we have a lit secondary, but our defensive line's horrible.
It was you invested. Pete Carroll kept trying to reinvent the wheel of like the Legion of Boom, and the way he did that was
It just didn't work.
well, it's just like it was a lot of luck, but also what happened is like he had too many misses on the defensive line, like just overall. Like he never had the same type of luck that he did in the secondary as consistently. The secondary like had some like misses, but like didn't have just as many bad misses in the draft.
I mean, Earl Thomas is going to be a Hall of Famer. Did you see that he got passed, or Marshawn got passed up for Earl Thomas in this year's round of voting?
No, really?
Yeah, I think Earl Thomas is going to have a gold jacket.
He
He's that good.
should.
Yeah.
I mean,
Earl
by
Thomas,
all means, but
I mean, all of the Legion of Boom should get gold jackets. Like honestly,
if Marshawn isn't in the running next year, I will be clamoring. It's hard for them, but
it's like receivers, it's just hard for those guys.
It's just hard. Yeah, I know, but Marshawn Lynch is a singular talent. You know, like he is one of those guys. He's a one-on-one guy. If he's not in the Hall of Fame, it's doing a disservice to the NFL. That's my honest opinion.
Best trade John Schneider ever made.
Easy.
Trade like a fifth for that dude.
Yeah.
I do
Buffalo fucked up. They put themselves in running back hell for decades because they traded Marshawn Lynch.
They had LaShawn McCoy.
Nah. Shady was good. Shady was good.
He was a monster.
Good, but he's not Marshawn.
He's not Marshawn.
Yeah.
Shady McCoy was fucking awesome though.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to the playoff race.
Oh yeah. Who else would you like to know about? Because I've Kornaki'd everything.
I'm curious if Josh even has a shot. Like if he like smokes enough crack, is there a way? Is there a chance?
It would take so much excessive dominance from Josh at this point. Like,
is it 6 feet or bust pretty much?
It's 6 feet or bust, and he is playing. So he played Danny last week. I'm trying to get he plays Skot next week. He must be playing Matt this week, Matt or Ben.
Well, he's not playing Joe, Trevor.
Yeah, let me look because I didn't actually. Because I'm pretty sure that he was, because I was pretty sure he was absolutely toast. I didn't completely calculate out Josh. So give me a second here.
I mean, my team.
So yeah, he's playing Matt this week, right? Wait.
Matt's team has been really inconsistent.
Yeah,
Matt is basically what my team should be in terms of record. I just keep getting lucky with my matchups. Matt's not.
I mean, yeah. So basically the way it's going, Josh is projected to beat Matt at this point with no buys or anything currently subjected in the lineup.
Best week of the year for Matt incoming, by the way.
Right. I mean, that would be the straight luck.
If it could not be me this week, that would be great.
So, I mean, that being said, Matt is in, CeeDee Lamb is still projected at 15 points. I don't know if that's really reasonable.
I mean, Cooper Rush did throw for 350, so it's not like.
I guess that's not unreasonable, but yeah.
It's unlikely. It's
so
inside the range of outcomes.
I don't know. I'm watching the Cowboys games, and they're turning 64 goals into turnover on downs. That team is broken.
The thing is, though, if Josh wins out, he's going to be at 6-8, and that's a really tough place to be outside of the 6th seed. That is the 6th seed. So in terms of, and like even in that absolutely ideal situation, because I can't look at Max PF on browser, I have to look at my phone. I don't know that he would be able to do that based on his PF. He's got a pretty high PF, but it's not like. I think you're still a couple.
Race, though. He's
It's
assuming,
more.
Assuming that assuming that basically just Joe.
Right.
Doesn't
he
get in
needs
by 6 seed.
he needs Joe to falter by 100 points, 103 points, or 93 points.
I'm getting
97 points, you know, like, and you're getting Mike Evans back. Your team is getting healthier. I really don't think that's going to happen over the next 3 weeks. It is possible, but it's not a great projection, you know, for Josh.
I think him and Danny still my dark horse.
I feel like Josh is, barring some sort of miracle, effectively eliminated from the playoffs at this point.
You heard him, Josh.
So I'm sorry to give you that prognosis. I don't want to eliminate anyone at this point, but you and Matt right now are the race to the bottom, and I have a feeling that you're both going to end at 4-8 here at the end of this week, and that's going to be toasty for both of you. So
yeah, what happened to me?
We'll see. But I'm
boxed out.
Yeah, Targus, you're in an interesting position because you're up here with the 6 and 5ers, and you're in a nearly dead heat with John right now as a 5 and 6er.
Having weeks where I get 2 touchdowns.
Right. The most like
last year. It was frustrating.
There are so many super critical matches this week.
3 weeks last year with 1 touchdown. I have 1 touchdown in 3 weeks at the end of the season. That's why I didn't make playoffs.
Yeah,
it drove me insane.
An absolutely historic collapse.
The team is a fraud. I'm building something.
Yeah,
it's not done yet.
Your team is a fraud. You're manifesting even fewer touchdowns.
Yes.
This is basically like just. I mean, is this the Giants like with Daniel Jones? Like.
Yeah, no. Targus is basically manifesting a tank somehow. Yeah, right. No, you're right, because it's every season. Well, I don't think you're the Falcons. I think you're the Mariners. I think you've literally taken on the spirit of the Mariners, in that you start strong and then have an absolutely heartbreaking collapse, and then don't make playoffs.
Starting strong, no.
The Mariners do start strong. They start for the past 3 seasons. They've started relatively strong.
2023,
we're counting from playoffs, man. Like,
yeah.
The Mariners don't know what those are.
That we made from the playoffs, like, it's been like only 2 of those last, like, well, no, like even that year we didn't start off like hot.
Oh, we were terrible in 2021.
There's mid-season winning streaks leading to playoff hopes.
You have this year.
You have embodied the Mariners, is my point. Mid-season winning streaks leading to absolute collapses. This is your fate. This is your jam. Enjoy it. You're familiar with it, at least, you know?
Ben, if you want some of that.
There's only 12 teams in this league. Not the MLB.
Speaking of Ben, Ben has a really interesting thing going on here. Because
Saquon went sicko mode this week.
Saquon definitely went sicko mode. But Ben is right in the thick of it, and is playing Kelsey this week. Kelsey's team is sneaky scary. There's some stuff going on here.
He's been creeping up the stands.
Creeping in, and again, this Ben versus Kelsey matchup is hugely consequential for the playoff race, because it very well, it might not be, because again, parody, a thing. We all heard Targus' song earlier, but there's still all of that, and but this is a really consequential match. We're really absolutely getting into crunch time for a lot of players.
It really comes down to the running back situation between Ben and Kelsey, because Ben has a clear advantage because he's got Demont and Saquon, who's insane, And then she's starting Rico and Javonte. And who knows if Javonte is going to get any touches this week. And then Rico Dowdle should get all the carries, but they keep giving carries to Zeke for some fucking reason.
Here's what I'm really interested in is this Nico Collins coming back from injury versus Tank Dell in the wide receiver position. Like, that's a really huge, like, kind of thing in terms of, like, who's going to see the targets between those two, especially with Nico coming back from injury, and, like, how is his speed going to be there versus Tanks, who's been in the office.
Outscored by Trayvon Diggs this week, so, you know.
Which is another big part of it. Like,
It's literally the head-to-head between them. It's gonna, yeah. This is gonna be an interesting one.
This is a really cool. This is gonna be a fun game, or a fun matchup to watch, especially with just like the. I'm stoked about both of their defenses too. Like with Ben having picked up Byron Young, who is certainly good, and having Nakobe Dean and Pat Surtain. And on Kelsey's side, Karlaftis, who could be extremely interesting against Carolina. And then Bobby Wagner, too, against Dallas. Like,
the interesting stat with Carolina is they don't give up a lot of sacks.
Really?
They're a very bad team.
Their line is good.
Interesting.
Like the quarterbacks either like get the ball out too quick or they're just smart enough to get it out of their hand. Like,
well, that's good.
One of the lowest sack rate teams in the league.
I had not known that.
Young has also not been absolute trash. Like
he's
serviceable.
He's
not good, but
he's not good, but not bad. And
not Jamarcus Russell.
Carolina has a whole host of problems that aren't related to the players. I mean, like when we're talking about franchises like that, we're really,
I mean, it's the Panthers and Jacksonville that are now like the definitive, and the Raiders, the definitive worst ownership groups.
Jets. Don't forget the Jets.
Don't forget the Jets.
Don't forget the Jets. Don't forget the Jets.
One of the top 10 GMs in the NFL this week for some reason.
For no reason. Actually, no. For a very specific reason.
We all know why.
No.
We all know.
We fired the. Okay, we get the we out of my goddamn head. There's no way I want to be we associated with the Jets. The Jets. Yeah. Psyop League. Blah, 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 blah. The Jets fired Joe Douglas because he backed Saleh in refusing and considered for the skid, but then in refusing to bench Aaron Rodgers after week 4 as Woody Johnson desired.
Wait, it's Aaron Rodgers' fault?
Yeah.
That's not what Aaron Rodgers told me.
No way!
He said it was Mike Williams and they needed...
No, are you telling me it wasn't Aaron Rodgers' fault that the Jets are failing?
Yeah, he was supposed to run like a go route, but he ran an in-breaker. And then
yeah, is that really it, huh? Is that really it, huh?
Fuck you, Aaron.
Sure it wasn't you changing every run play at the line of scrimmage to a screen. A bad passing screen that gets blown up on every play. No, that surely isn't the problem.
Joe Douglas is a really his tenure is an interesting one to look at because it's like
it's one of trying and failing.
It's one of the worst tenures by all of the important things in the NFL, like winning. Mm-hmm. But it also like leaves the Jets with like some very clearly talented, good players. It's like the worst version of the Vikings, where the Vikings are consistently good and like have good players. Like they're not ever like great and they never like break through, but they're always a good team. Mm-hmm. But like the Jets are not a good team, but they have good players and they never break through. It's just like the worst outcome, like Vikings. It's crazy.
It's as if they're cursed or something.
Yeah. All I gotta say about all that is that Aaron Rodgers' record now is worse than the Zach Wilson version of the Jets last year.
And Darnold.
By a wide margin too.
Yeah.
Like, and there's no way that like actually recovering from injury can account for that too. Like this version of the Jets, because of a myriad of factors, is probably the worst Jets team that has been fielded since the 90s.
Probably.
That's a lot of bags. That's a lot of paper bags.
It's a lot of paper bags. Like, it's bad out there.
They spend on their O-line, too. Like, it's not like they didn't see all the problems coming with Rodgers. Like they went and got Tyron Smith, they went and got Morgan Moses, they drafted Olufashanu.
Everything was supposed to be there. Like
yeah, they knew they needed to compensate for him somehow, and like
they were quarterback away.
Like, good pick.
But that's it. Like he's washed.
He's been playing all over the line. He's been pretty good. Like they're doing the Packers thing. Like
they're cross training. They're like
just get your guys out there. Like,
but like you have a bad owner in meddling in the coaching and GM decisions. You have terrible instability in the coaching staff. You now have instability in the player personnel, scouting, everything else. Like, and the one remaining pylon of theoretical stability is Aaron goddamn Rodgers, a man who's fucking washed and just is patently bad at being a GM. Like,
yeah.
Look,
I think
from the Packers' perspective, right?
Well, I think we can all say that Aaron Rodgers would be the worst GM. He has no John Elway future ahead of him.
No, he's terrible.
A good GM either, but like
he doesn't understand the game in that way. Like, and it's just like he's been a great quarterback for the Packers. I don't want to diminish Aaron Rodgers for what he has done, and like he's a Hall of Famer. But
you're amongst Seahawks fans, you may.
Yeah, okay.
You have permission.
Yeah.
Inner touchdownception.
The worst, artist, most overrated player. It's fine.
Yeah. No. I don't.
Like, we all believe it,
but
too.
At the same time, like, yeah, that's fair. I'll be the defender of his time on the Packers because that was a good time for the Packers, and I will take that till the last 2 years. But
always take the championship. Always take the ring.
Always take the ring. Absolutely. It's why we still laud Favre, even though he's kind of an ass too. You know,
kind of an ass. He stole a lot of money from a lot of poor people.
He stole a lot of money from a lot of poor people, and he was probably credibly sexually assaulted a lot of people. So, yeah, Favre sucks. But Favre sucks as a man, but not as a quarterback. And I could say this very same about Aaron Rodgers. You know, I hope not to say the same about Jordan Love. Although, if he sucked as a quarterback and not as a man, I don't know if I would be all that happy about it either. But I'd really like it if he was great at both. That being said, you know, yeah, like, wait, fuck, where were we on this?
Oh, Aaron Rodgers being just like,
oh yeah, he sucks. Yeah, he sucks. He's the worst.
Right back into it.
Yeah, all right, yeah, never mind. He sucks. Great. Thank you so much for the lock back in. Wait a fucking minute. I was saying nice things about Jordan Love. What were we saying? Oh, yeah. Aaron Rodgers sucks. No, he's the worst. Fuck him and his terrible views. He's a bad man. He's a good quarterback. And he's a bad GM.
That being said, I think we've got like enough content for 2 weeks now.
Yeah, I think that's about right. Yeah, I think that's about right. We've been doing an hour and a half. We can do a little bonus for you over our standard shtick. Needs more editing for me though.
It's
so
always like,
oh well. Yeah.
But yep. We'll break down the I think next week we should get into the matchups.
Next week.
Get serious this week. So
yeah. After this week, I hope that we will have a much better position. But at the same time, I think we will still have like 4 folks who are 7-5 and a bunch who are 6-6.
It's gonna be interesting to see what players' picks get moved, if any. I'm sure there will be some trade.
I imagine. I mean,
the playoff picture, like
we're hitting the trade deadline on the redraft leagues too. So like
there is no trade deadline in this league.
There's no trade deadline in Dynasty now. So
yep.
You know, keep on moving, have fun. You know, now is the moment as folks' playoffs destinies are made or broken. So
no one really knows yet though. Like
exactly, nobody's. That's the thing is there's no reason to make a trade while nobody's out, unless you really feel like you need to make a move in order to secure something. So you know, think about that.
I mean, I did that. I did that last year with Aaron Jones.
Absolutely, you made a move to try and secure something. and you felt like
Yeah.
you were a good team and in a position to win. And I think that was a strong move. Like
And then Jordan fucked up by not scoring enough points.
Yep.
Yep.
Just a tackle would have done it.
just a tackle.
Yep.
I mean,
Tackle would have done
that's the thing. It's like, and the 6th seed is about 90 to 100 points in Joe's favor at this point. That could be surmountable over 3 games. I don't think it's likely given Joe's roster, but I think it is
I don't know who's
possible.
next, but like that's not out of that's like if someone scores like in the 200s consistently, like
Mhm.
that's very
like
doable.
Trevor.
Exactly. Well, no,
Well,
not
he
Trevor,
goes
but
off
if
the
somebody,
run,
if one of the folks who's in like a Josh, Matt, Jordan kind of folks scores 200 points consistently, and Joe is in the like 160, 170 range over the next 3 weeks consistently, they could steal the 6th seed spot from him.
Oh yeah.
That is basically how it goes. But that is the circumstance, and that is,
That's pretty
unlikely.
It's not, like, crazy. It's unlikely, but
it's
not crazy.
unlikely, not
Can
impossible.
happen.
Yeah, not impossible. And that's the point I want to make, is that, it is still almost anyone's game, but at the same time, for a lot of folks, it's a pretty long shot. So
Yeah.
don't give up hope. Make moves as if you were, as you feel you should. And,
Defense wins championships,
sure does.
And Steve sucks.
and
And-
Steve sucks.
Fuck you both.
I don't know what he's a.
So,
I just had to
but-
weasel that in there.
we're always
Yeah,
wrong.
you got to manage it at one point. So, have a
Alright,
great
guys,
night.
we'll see
Talk
you
to y'all
next
soon. Next week it
See
is.
ya.
Peace.
Peace out.
Later.